Hello everyone, welcome back to today's story. In this video, we follow Tuna, little Henry, and Johnny as they visit Johnny's mother, hoping to strengthen family bonds. At first, the reunion is filled with warmth, laughter, and dreams of living together under one roof. But everything changes when Johnny's mother uncovers a hidden truth, that Tuna isn't her daughter by blood, and Johnny and Tuna are not siblings as she believed. The discovery shakes her to the core, turning joy into anger and forcing Tuna to confront rejection she has long feared. Stay with us until the very end to see how this storm of secrets affects their fragile family ties. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Your support truly means the world to us. The late afternoon sun stretched long shadows across the quiet village, painting the humble homes in shades of orange and gold. Inside her small house, Tuna checked on baby Henry, who was sleeping peacefully, his tiny breaths rising and falling like the rhythm of a lullaby. She lingered by the crib for a moment, her face soft with tenderness, though a trace of worry hovered in her eyes. Life had taught her that peace could be fragile. A sudden knock startled her. She opened the door to find Johnny standing there, his warm smile carrying the ease of a familiar friend. In his hands was a small package wrapped in cheerful paper. "I just came by to visit you and the baby," he said, his voice gentle, like the calm before evening. Tuna stepped aside, letting him in. The modest room lit up as Johnny placed the gift on the table. "For Henry," he explained, pulling out a little rattle toy. "It'll help him sleep better." Tuna's lips curved into a smile, gratitude softening her heart. His thoughtfulness felt like an anchor in her often storm-tossed days. They sat across from each other as the ceiling fan hummed above. Johnny's voice lowered, carrying a note of longing. "I've been thinking. It's been such a long time since I saw my mother. I'd like to bring you and Henry to visit her." Tuna tilted her head, uncertain. His mother was someone she respected, but hadn't spent much time with. The thought of showing up with Henry in all his innocence made her feel both nervous and hopeful. "If you think it's right," she said softly. Johnny's eyes lit up, his smile filled with sincerity. Yes, it would mean a lot to her. She's been alone too long. As they spoke, Tuna confided in him about a memory that still haunted her, the day her ex-mother-in-law tried to take Henry away. Her voice trembled as she recounted the desperate search, the police, and the relief of finally holding Henry in her arms again. "If she ever changes," Tuna whispered, "I'd let her see him. But that wound, it hasn't healed." Johnny nodded, his gaze kind, his silence heavy with understanding. He didn't press further. Instead, he shifted the conversation back to his mother, suggesting that a visit might bridge the loneliness she carried. Tuna listened, feeling the sincerity in his words. Slowly, she agreed. The following day, the journey began. Johnny guided the car down narrow village paths, the fields on either side glowing in the sun. Tuna sat in the passenger seat. Henry nestled in her arms, his little head resting against her chest. Her heart was calm, yet filled with a swirl of questions. What kind of welcome awaited them? Johnny's mother's home came into view, an old wooden house that stood quietly at the edge of a field. Its aged walls seemed to breathe history, and yet it held a warmth that softened as they approached. The door opened, and there she was, Johnny's mother, her face lighting up with joy. "Oh, it's been so long," she exclaimed, her arms reaching out. Her gaze fell instantly on Henry, and she beamed, gathering the baby into her embrace with surprising energy. "This little one, he's beautiful," she said, her eyes shimmering. Tuna stepped forward, placing a small, wrapped gift on the table. She smiled politely, though deep inside, her heart ached as she saw the woman's joy. A pang of sadness stirred. This was the kind of grandmother Henry deserved, someone gentle and filled with warmth. Dinner that evening carried the fragrance of boiled chicken, rice, and simple vegetables. The clatter of chopsticks and the hum of conversation filled the house, weaving a scene of family togetherness. Johnny's mother spoke of her health, her tone a mix of cheer and vulnerability. "I'm not as strong as I once was," she admitted. "But if you lived here, I could still help with the baby. I'd love to be close." Her words touched Tuna, but hesitation lingered in her eyes. The farm was her home, and independence was something she clung to fiercely. She could not imagine giving that up, even for comfort. Johnny noticed her silence, but he didn't push. He busied himself in the kitchen, his rhythmic chopping echoing through the space, as though to remind everyone of the steady heartbeat of family life. After the meal, they lingered, sharing small stories. Laughter flickered between them, though underneath, unspoken truths waited like shadows at the edge of the firelight. When the evening settled into stillness, Johnny drove Tuna and Henry back. The dirt road stretched endlessly under the fading twilight, each bump carrying them farther from the fragile warmth of the reunion. At the door of her small home, Tuna whispered a promise. "I'll visit again when I can." Johnny's mother had waved from her doorstep, her figure shrinking against the dimming horizon. Her silhouette seemed etched into Tuna's memory, a reminder of the complicated threads of family, threads that comforted and tangled at the same time. Back in her own house, Tuna laid Henry down in his crib. The boy stirred, but soon drifted back to sleep. Sitting beside him, she traced his tiny fingers with her gaze. Her mind heavy with emotions, she wanted him to grow up surrounded by love, but the scars of the past made her cautious. Could she ever truly belong to Johnny's family? Rain clouds thickened outside, and thunder rumbled distantly. Just then, another knock came at her door. She opened it to see Alex, his face bright with a familiar smile. "I missed you, so I came," he said. His presence felt like sunshine breaking through storm clouds, and yet it also stirred a storm of its own within her. She invited him inside, offering him water. They sat together as Alex spoke of his work, the workshop, the orchard, contracts waiting to be signed. Then his words shifted, carrying a weight she hadn't expected. "Why don't you work at my company?" he asked. "It would give us more time together." Tuna's expression softened, but her reply was firm. "The farm is my place. I'm used to it. The company isn't for me." Her voice carried the strength of someone determined to chart her own course, even if it meant standing alone. Alex nodded, though disappointment flickered across his features. A phone call pulled him away. urgency creeping into his tone. "I have to go sign some papers," he explained, promising to return soon. As he disappeared into the fading evening, Tuna stood at the doorway, watching him leave. Inside, the storm finally broke, rain drumming against the roof. She returned to Henry's crib, gently rocking it with her hand. Her eyes shone with quiet strength, though her heart beat with a tangle of emotions: affection, fear, and an unshakable sense of duty. The night deepened, and in its shadows, Tuna carried her resolve. Life was never simple, but she had chosen her path, one that balanced independence with the fragile hope of belonging. Yet little did she know, the truths hidden within Johnny's family were about to surface, truths that would shake everything she thought she understood. The storm had passed by morning, leaving the air damp and cool, the scent of wet earth rising from the ground. Tuna moved through her home quietly, her thoughts still lingering on the previous night. The memory of Johnny's mother's warm embrace of Henry filled her with a bittersweet ache, while Alex's proposal echoed in her ears like a question she couldn't escape. Later that week, Johnny came again, his eyes alight with anticipation. "Mother asked if you and Henry could stay longer next time," he said, his smile carrying hope. She really likes you two being there." Tuna hesitated, glancing at Henry, who cooed happily in her arms. The idea of living near Johnny's mother was comforting on one hand. Henry would grow up with someone who loved him deeply. Yet, a thread of unease tugged at her heart. She couldn't explain it, but something about stepping further into that household felt like walking into a storm. Despite her reservations, she agreed to return. A few days later, Johnny drove them again to his mother's home. The old wooden house glowed warmly in the setting sun. This time, his mother welcomed them with an even wider smile, her arms open as though to gather not just Henry, but Tuna too. As they settled in, she began to speak more openly. "Tuna," she said, placing a gentle hand on her arm, "I wish you would stay here permanently. It would be easier for me to help with Henry, and Johnny wouldn't have to worry about you being alone." The words hung in the air, heavy with expectation. Tuna forced a smile, her heart pounding. She didn't want to disappoint the older woman, but her independence was something she couldn't give up so easily. "I'll think about it," she said softly. That night, the house was quiet except for the chirping of crickets outside. Tuna lay awake, Henry nestled beside her. Her thoughts circled endlessly about family, about duty, about love. She wanted to belong, yet feared what belonging might cost. The next morning, Johnny's mother was bustling around the kitchen when something unusual happened. She had been rummaging through an old chest, looking for a keepsake to show Tuna when she froze. A faded document slipped from the pile of papers. She picked it up, her eyes scanning the yellowed pages. At first, her face registered confusion, then disbelief, and finally, a simmering rage. She clutched the document tightly and stormed into the room where Tuna and Johnny sat with Henry. Her voice shook, rising like thunder. "Why didn't anyone tell me the truth?" Tuna blinked, startled. "What truth?" Johnny's mother slammed the document onto the table. "You and Johnny are not siblings, and you—" She pointed at Tuna, her eyes blazing. "You are not my daughter at all." All these years, all this time, you let me believe otherwise." The room went silent, the weight of her words crushing the air. Johnny's face drained of color. "Mother, please, calm down. I didn't mean to hide it from you like this." But she was beyond calming. Tears welled in her eyes as anger and betrayal twisted her expression. "You all lied to me. You made me look like a fool in my own home. Do you know how it feels to live in ignorance while everyone else carries the truth?" Tuna's heart pounded. She had always known the truth, but she hadn't realized how deeply the older woman had believed the lie. Her lips parted, but words wouldn't come. All she could do was clutch Henry close to her chest, as though shielding him from the storm erupting before her. Johnny stepped forward, his voice steady but filled with pleading. "Mother, listen. We didn't want to hurt you. We thought it was best this way. Tuna isn't your daughter by blood, but she has always respected you, always cared for you." His words only deepened the wound. His mother's voice cracked. "Respect? Care? How can there be respect in lies?" She turned to Tuna, her eyes burning. "And you? How could you stand in my home, sit at my table, and let me believe a falsehood?" Tears blurred Tuna's vision. "I never wanted to deceive you," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I was afraid that if you knew the truth, you would reject me." Silence hung for a moment, broken only by Henry's soft whimpering. The child's innocence seemed like a cruel contrast to the storm raging around him. Johnny's mother turned away, her shoulders trembling. "Leave," she said finally, her voice sharp with pain. "Take the child and go. I need time. I can't bear to see you right now." Tuna's breath caught in her throat. She wanted to reach out, to beg for forgiveness. But the anger in the older woman's tone left no space for words. Johnny touched his mother's arm gently, but she pulled away. His jaw tightened, his eyes clouded with sorrow. "We'll go," he said quietly. He gathered Tuna and Henry, leading them out of the house as the morning sun streamed harshly across the threshold. The walk to the car was heavy with silence. Tuna's chest ached with guilt, while Johnny's face was etched with grief. As the car pulled away, Tuna looked back one last time. His mother stood in the doorway, her figure rigid, her gaze unyielding. Back at her small home, Tuna laid Henry in his crib and sank into a chair, her hands trembling. "She hates me now," she whispered. "After all this time, she hates me." Johnny sat beside her, his voice low but firm. "No, she doesn't hate you. She's hurt. The truth shocked her, that's all. In time, she'll see that you never meant her harm." But Tuna wasn't convinced. The image of the older woman's fiery eyes haunted her. For the first time, she felt truly unwelcome, as though the fragile bond she had hoped to build had shattered in an instant. Days passed, each one heavy with uncertainty. Tuna threw herself into caring for Henry, while Johnny visited often, offering quiet reassurances. Yet the silence from his mother loomed over them like a dark cloud. One evening, as Tuna sat by the window, watching the fading light, Johnny appeared again. He carried no smile this time, only the weight of news. "Mother hasn't forgiven us yet," he admitted. "She's still angry, but I believe she will someday." Tuna nodded, though her heart remained unsettled. She wanted to believe him, to cling to hope. but doubt gnawed at her. Henry stirred in his crib, his small cry pulling her from her thoughts. She lifted him gently, rocking him in her arms. His innocent face reminded her why she endured everything, why she kept moving forward despite the storms. Outside, the night stretched quietly over the village. The truth had been revealed, and its consequences were sharp, cutting into the fragile ties of family. But beneath the pain, a question lingered. Could love, patience, and time mend the wounds that truth had opened? Tuna didn't know the answer yet. All she could do was hold Henry close, her heart heavy but resolute, waiting for the day when the storm might finally give way to peace.